The case reinforced the importance of adequate risk management and effective delegation of any duty of care which might be owed by councils to users of their facilities. At a Victorian amateur football game in the winter of 2009, a young, albeit tall and athletic, suburban football player flying for a mark near the boundary line landed catching his left boot on the cyclone wire fencing surrounding the ground. The player severely injured his left knee and was subsequently awarded $589,000 in compensation together with interest. Council failed to take reasonable care. On appeal, the Victorian Supreme Court of Appeal confirmed the Bayside City Council, one of the three defendants, was negligent in that it had failed to take reasonable care to ensure that the boundary line was marked at a sufficiently safe distance from the fence. The council was found liable to contribute 40% of the damage payable. In Victoria, Rule 73 of the Victorian Amateur Football Association rules provide that at a ground that is fully enclosed by a fence, the distance between the market boundary line and the fence at all points must be at least 3 meters. Whose duty of care was it? The council was the owner and occupier of the reserve, although they had entered into a ground occupancy agreement with the Beaumaris Football Club. The agreement granted the club permission to occupy and use the reserve as a licensee. Pursuant to the condition of occupancy incorporated into the agreement, the club had the responsibility for marking the position of the boundary line on the reserve. At trial, the council contended that it had diligent a duty of care it owed to the club and the South Metro Junior Football League. Evidence was laid that the council had control management or ownership of 42 sport grounds and that if council were to take over the responsibility of line marking, it would be at considerable cost. In any event, it wasn't the council's responsibility to check boundary line and fences on any of those grounds. It was found that in 2002 the Council adopted a document referred to as the Geelong Protocol relating to ground inspection which contained an item check and measure boundary marking to compliant with association regulation or guideline random check. The document was primarily used as a method of rating the various ground and reserve, but the boundary line check referred to in the document were never carried out although council staff had inspected the reserve in March, April, May and June 2009. The item was subsequently removed from the form in 2010. Although there was a risk management plan in place, the court determined the council had taken no step to enforce it. This, in the court view, didn't amount to an effective delegation of its duty of care. The court found the council hadn't taken adequate steps to ensure the boundary marking was done in a manner that would reduce the risk of injury. It was found that the council was located 10 minutes from the reserve. Council had the key to the reserve. It didn't supervise the line marking work. It had inspected the reserve multiple times in 2009 but had then checked the boundary marking as indicated on the Geelong Protocol. In staff were unfamiliar with the applicable risk management policy. No park management procedure or policy which will protect users of a football ground from a boundary line too close to events was in place, and the requirement to check boundary marking had been removed from the Geelong Protocol in 2010. Although the case was constructed largely from circumstantial evidence, the appeal court considered that the probable conclusion from the evidence was that at the point where the accident occurred, the fence was less than the safe prescribed distance of the 3 meters. Runoff guideline. Nationally, the AFL Preferred Facility Guideline for state, regional, and local facilities recommend that oval fencing should allow for an adequate runoff distance from the playing field boundary line and recommend 5 meters for state league game, 4 meters for regional game, and 3 meters for local game. In Western Australia, The Department of Local Government, Sport and Cultural Industry recommend a 3-meter runoff for junior game. Where fencing is present, a 5-meter runoff is recommended. Thank you.